Welcome back to Relearning Relationships. It's me, Christian. What happens to a relationship once the limerence stage is over? This is a topic that's been highly requested, and limerence is a subject that isn't widely understood, which makes it even more interesting to talk about. So I actually do have a video on limerence, which you guys can, go check. You just type in on YouTube, what is limerence, relearning relationships, or just look it on the channel, and you'll find it. When I go into in-depth and I pretty much explain what it is. But I will give you just a small little intro for any of you watching that don't know what limerence is. Limerence is pretty much that honeymoon stage when a relationship starts, to where both the man and the woman are affected by this, where they project their fantasy onto their partner, and they just view them as this perfect, flawless being. And it's basically an unhealthy state of mind where they become too emotionally attached to their person, to the person they're dating. And the reason why I want to talk about what actually happens to a relationship when limerence is over, because there's good and bad that can come from it. So I'm first going to go through the bad, because as you guys know, I always want to end the video on a positive note. So what is the first thing that can happen when this limerence, this honeymoon stage is over? Well, this relationship will end. You see, guys, when you're in limerence, when you are in your head and you can't see things for what they are, and you project your fantasy onto the other person, you ignore red flags. You will ignore crystal clear signs that this person has deep-rooted issues, insecurities, This woman may be a narcissist, she may be a drug user, she may be a serial cheater, she may be very promiscuous, maybe she had a very damaged childhood. You might ignore all these red flags and all these signs, but because you're projecting onto her this fantasy that she's a perfect woman, that you guys are compatible, when in reality, you guys aren't. So what will typically happen is, when this limerence stage is over, a couple years into the relationship, both the man and the woman, they start to see reality for what it is. And what they will see is that the other person has all these flaws, has all these red flags, has all these issues. They start to realize that there's no compatibility, there really is no chemistry. It was just pure lust. It was pure fantasy and loneliness and insecurities that was driving this attachment, which was limerence. And there really can't be a relationship. And typically, one person will hold on to the relationship while the other person will slowly detach and break up. So the relationship will end in two ways. If that woman is loyal and she's a good person, she'll just break up with you. Now, if she's got issues, she's insecure, she's damaged, she's got her own problems, she will line up a replacement, monkey branch, cheat on you and dump you. But that is what will happen in the first instance. Understand that that relationship will be over every single time. Because if there are too many differences, if there are too many incompatibilities, ultimately the relationship will break down, because there is no love there. There is no compatibility. There will be no chance to have a true bonding or a true connection, because all there ever was limerence, was fantasy. It was all just in your head. And the reality doesn't match what's going on up here. So understand that in the first case, that relationship will ultimately end. And for the guy or the woman that is still in limerence, that is still in fantasy, that is still attached, it can be quite damaging. Because when you are that man or that woman who gets dumped and you're still in limerence, it will cause you a lot of pain. You will become obsessed over the ex. This is why you'll see so many guys, go through a breakup and then they still believe that they're destined to be with that woman. It's been years and they haven't moved on. Even though the other person's in a relationship, they still believe that they're going to get back together someday. And now this not only prevents them from healing and recovering, but that limerence goes into overdrive. In other words, they obsess even more than when they were together, because they feel like they need them. That unhealthy attachment they've created it becomes deeper, right? They feel like, oh, I can't live without them. So they'll give up their friends, they'll give up their family. Okay, they will, stop taking care of their health. This is why you'll see lots of guys and women, they'll become addicted to, alcohol or drugs because of this person. Okay, or they'll just, eat a lot of food, or the other way, they won't. They'll develop some type of, eating disorder. And, they really let themselves go. Mentally, physically, they will suffer at their job and their studies. They can't focus on anything because that limerence, it causes them to be so unhealthy that they have no control over their life. This is why limerence can be so bad, because it can really damage someone's life. Okay, this is why you have to be so careful when you're attached to someone. Okay, especially at the beginning when you don't even know them, because when you're in limerence, you don't even know who the person is until reality kicks in. And for the guy who was in limerence, or the girl who's still in limerence, all that happened is that the other person saw you. They saw red flags, they saw flaws that they didn't like, they saw differences, they saw there was no compatibility, and they walked away. But hey, just like all things, they all come to an end, whether it's good or bad. Eventually, this person who's still suffering after getting dumped, that limerence that they feel will eventually leave. Eventually, they will see reality for what it is, and they will be able to move on with their life. However, the bad thing is, it just took them a lot of time. So they will have caused themselves a lot of pain, a lot of unnecessary heartache due to limerence. This is the first scenario that you will see when the limerence stage is over in a relationship. Okay, it's going to cause a lot of pain because, look, guys, this is just what happens. You meet someone, you think they're perfect, you're living in fantasy, you can't see them for what they are. But if the other person breaks out from limerence and they see there is no compatibility, there's nothing in common, they can't really have a relationship with you. So they'll end up leaving you. And you got to be strong enough to understand that that's the risk you're willing to take every time you date someone. Every time you meet someone new and you start to get involved with them, this is the risk, okay? You might meet someone and you're incompatible and you're not, meant to have a relationship with them because there's not enough substance you can work with. There is no connection, there's no chemistry, and that's okay. But if you're still in limerence, you're going to struggle, you're going to be in a lot of pain, and when that limerence stage is over, that relationship, often than not, will end in a breakup. So what is the second scenario, which is the good one? Well, pretty much the opposite. Guys, this is going to happen in rare occasion, but it does. When the limerence stage is over, sometimes that limerence turns into a normal life. Limerence can actually turn into a happy, healthy relationship, but it's rare. Because you see, for most people, it's going to be the other scenario, where it ends badly, where it ends in a breakup. Simply because the average man and woman get involved with the wrong person, they settle, there's red flags, and it causes lots of problems. It always ends in a breakup. Always. Whereas in the second scenario, this is going to be for the couple who, even though when they first meet, they're lusting after each other, they're just, oh, I'm crazy about them, they're perfect. However, this couple actually has compatibility, chemistry, same things in common. They share the same values, the same beliefs, the same outlook on life. So when that limerence dies down and they look at each other, they see each other for who they are. They like their personality. They're like, I love their character. I love their integrity. I actually want to be with them. And that is when you can make the choice. Because when you're in limerence, you're in fantasy. You don't really know who someone is. Okay, and you can't really say you have a relationship unless you've been through fights and arguments. Unless you've had ups and downs. If you haven't been through that, you haven't had a relationship. Okay? If you haven't had to take care of a partner who's been sick, or when you've had a really horrible time, a loved one has died, and you're not in the best headspace, but you still come to the relationship, you can only have that when you actually are in a relationship. And only when you can see them for who they are. Because when you're in limerence, both people, they're presenting the best self, and they're projecting the fantasy onto each other. So it's that, everything's perfect. But the first time there's a fight or an argument, you're out the door. You know why? Because you don't actually love them. You're in lust. But you see, once that limerence is over, it will reveal who both of you are. And you need to accept and being able to accept the other person as they are for every situation, whether they're having a good day or a bad day. You're going to get to know them really. What are they like? What are they like when they lose their job? What are they like when their football team loses? What are they like when they've had a horrible day with their family? What are they like when they're in a great mood? What are they like when they're sick? What are they like when they're upset, when they're angry, when there's a miscommunication? Okay? You see, that's normal. That's going to happen. But it's only the couples that share the same values, share the same beliefs, share the same interests, that actually like each other's personalities, that will go through that. I'm not talking about red flags. I'm talking about small differences. I'm talking about the ups and downs. Okay? And that is when that limerence will turn into love. Because in limerence, guys, there ain't going to be no fights. There ain't going to be no discussions. There ain't going to be no arguments. There ain't going to be no miscommunications. It's all going to be like this. It's all going up. But in a relationship, it will be going like this. Ups and downs. And that's normal. Because perfect relationships aren't real. And real relationships aren't perfect. It's two imperfect people that work together. And that is why it takes two to tango. So once limerence dies down, the couple that lasts is the couple that actually accepts each other for who they are, under every circumstance, under every situation. And it's that couple that actually gets to have a relationship. Because when you're in limerence, you can't really say, oh, this is a relationship, because it really isn't. It's in your head. But when you actually are in a real relationship, to where you both know, you know what, she ain't perfect, I ain't perfect, but you know what, we both do the self-improvement in our personal life. We're both working on ourselves. We make the best effort. You're masculine, she's feminine. Okay, there's going to be some days when she's not going to be able to give her best self, and you're going to have to accept that. The same way, there's going to be days when you aren't going to be your best self. She's going to have to accept that. It's the ups and downs. It's understanding all of this, which is going to drive forward a relationship to success. It's working on it. It's not giving up. It takes two people, guys. And it takes someone with the right values, with the right mindset, with the right beliefs. Because if you're dating a cheater, which is a red flag, they ain't get their needs met, they'll go behind your back. But you date a man or a woman who's got good values, whether you're a guy or girl watching, what happens? They will go through the ups and downs with you. Because when they look at you and they say, you know what, I accept them. I love them for who they are. And I'm gonna do my best part. That is when you can have a relationship. That is when you can say, you know what, this can work. But it takes two. And it takes two people to see each other for who they are. Not this fantasy shit when you're living in your head. But seeing reality for what it is in every situation. And it takes a lot of maturity. And it takes a lot of work. And this is why I'm telling you that this second scenario is rare. But it does happen. Okay? And both the man and the woman must have those qualities. Okay? It's only going to be quality men and quality women that get through this. Okay? So there are those situations where that limerence can turn into love. Alright? And it's not going to be for everyone. I just want you guys to understand that. Alright? So this is the topic I wanted to get into today. You know, a lot of people don't understand limerence, how it works, but it's something that affects pretty much everyone. And you have to be really prepared for that. This is why I tell you guys, when you first meet a woman, you want to know, you want to get to know her character. What is she like? Okay, what are her values? How does she carry herself? Okay, look at her family, look at her friends. Look at what does she do in her spare time. Okay, you want to know, does she have integrity? Because if there's red flags, that relationship won't last. And when limerence is over and you're still attached, you're going to be in a lot of pain. Or vice versa. Whereas when you first meet someone and there is integrity, there is dignity, there is good values, there is compatibility, there is chemistry. Okay, you do share most things in common. Guess what? When you both get out of that limerence, when you both stop fantasizing and that honeymoon stage is over, and it dies down and reality actually sets in, then you can both actually see and accept each other for who you both are. And you can actually move forward and have a relationship. But because most people get involved with the wrong person, the second scenario does not happen for everyone. Okay. So this is the topic for today, guys. Be really careful with the quality of person you pick, okay? Because it can really make the difference between a relationship that lasts and a relationship that doesn't. And always make sure that you become a person of quality. Okay, work on becoming, the best version of yourself. Guys, self-improvement never ends. Growth is one of our needs as a human being. You must constantly be refining yourself, tweaking yourself. When you see that you have weaknesses or insecurities, you work on them. When you find areas that you can make a little bit better, make them a little bit better. If you want to attract a quality woman, you must become a quality man, because like attracts like. Okay? Compatibility matters a lot. And understand that when limerence is over, if you're the average guy and you get involved with the average woman, this is going to be the first scenario happens to you. It will end in a breakup because there's too many red flags. There's no substance there. Okay? The second scenario is only going to be for those men and women of quality that can truly have a relationship, that have the dignity and the integrity, okay, who have all that stuff in common. So this is why the second scenario, guys, is just not going to be for everyone. So focus on the self-improvement, work on yourself, all right? Be the best, become the best so that you can get the best, all right? So that when that limerence stage is over and you're in a relationship with a woman, you know the quality of woman you picked, so that that limerence can actually turn into a relationship, okay? So with that said, guys, this is it. This is the video for today. Give it a like, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below your thoughts. If you have any video suggestions, let me know, or you want to get back to me with your personal situation, or you want coaching, the email is linked down in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one.